All right, man. Here we go. At it again. Back with Chop It Up with Coco. Last I spoke with y'all, man, I was talking about my sister Kim. There's gonna be a lot of different times I bring her up and talk about her, man. She probably was the most important person in my success with me. But like I was saying before, later stages. Like I said, throughout this bio, my little league football career, all the way through my pro career, there's different times that different people was very important to me. And last we spoke on here, I apologize if sometimes the camera battery dies and I have to kind of start over and get back, going to where we were, get back on topic where we left off. But I was talking about my sister Kim. God rest her soul, man. She was a big pitcher. So every segment along the way is gonna probably have something to do with her because she was probably the overall most important person of my productivity of who I was. Her heart was off the charts. But I'll tell you one thing, like I said, God rest her soul, man. She passed, 2 years ago, and her main message was this, and this is kind of how my dad was this way, my mom was this way, and her message was this: why do we as folks in general, our kind, us, why do we always got to get together only when something bad happens? Why do we got to get together when somebody dies or something bad happened to somebody and wishing for the recovery? Her main thing was she wanted to get together just in general, like family reunions. That was one of her favorite things that she loved because you get to see all your friends and all your family and even people who you called family, even though they wasn't your blood, that was your family. So with my sister, man, we talked a lot. A lot of my decision making in my life, I went through her. I always had my own mind, always was my own man. But my final decision is when I already had my mind kind of almost made, about 85, 90%, I would reach out to her and say, hey, this is my situation. What you think? And she would always keep it real with me. Nobody kept it realer than me than my sister and my brothers. But my sister would tell me, hey, this is what I think you should do what you want to do, but this is what I think. And I always listened. So with that being said, her main thing we talked about, man, this was kind of rough, but the main thing talking with her when she was got sick was let's get together normally. Let's get together, like again, not just when somebody dies or somebody passes away or when things get bad in our lives. Let's get together normally. Let's eat on Sundays. Let's have a family reunion. She was real big in the family. If anybody knew my sister Kim Blaylock, she was about family, man, and she gonna ride or die for family no matter what. If you wrong, she wrong with you, but she gonna pull you to the side and let you know. I'm the same way. I was just like that. I guess that's how our pops and our mom was and my grandmother. We gonna ride with you. Once we with you, we with you. So if you wrong, and we had a lot of people in our family, cousins, friends, us, in our general, that was wrong. Like my dad growing up. Not a negative thing, but my dad, he drank. I said it before, and I'll say it again that he was a functioning alcoholic. But shit, no matter what, we rolled with our pops. You know what I mean? No matter how drunk he was, no matter what he did, we rolled with him. There was no we ride, and then later on we figured out, we discussed it and let a person know, hey, you was wrong. And to be grown and to be real, you got to understand that when somebody that love you tell you the truth, you got to take that at face value and roll with it. So with Kim, she was so family oriented, man. She was the main driving force, I think, of our family. My mom was important, my dad was important, my grandmother was important, but Kim, she was the real heart and soul to the fam. And like I said, we should do that more, man. We coming out with all of this bio, this football career, it's just much more than just my football career. I would love to chatter with a lot of friends and family that I met and dealt with along the way. I was always kind of, anybody that really knew me, I was always kind of closed. I always kind of kept to myself. And that shell, I kind of got out of it as I became an adult man. But I was always closed. And so for me to come out and talk about the things that I'm talking about, which is a lot of personal stuff, I mean, it's cool. So I want y'all to do the same thing. But like I said, the message from Kim was, let's get together. Let's just not get together when something bad happens, man. Let's be positive. Let's be strong. Let's be, family oriented. And so it speaks down the road. I'll talk about her family. But right now, when I was younger and things like that, but that was her main thing. She left me with that, man. I remember her looking at me and talking with me. And some of her last words was, take care of your family. Pick up where I left off. Her daughter doing an A+ job with that as we speak. But get together normally. Don't wait until somebody gets sick, somebody dies. Let's get together on a normal basis and celebrate the joy and the happiness. It's one thing about me that I have my time with God all the time, and if you don't got that in your life, then you need to regroup and get Him in your life, because I have my time with Him every night before bed and every morning. I would love to be in a church, but you always got to be in a church to get that message with God, period, in the discussion. So, I have my time, and I don't just pray to God when things get bad in my life. I pray to God for the thankful things. I've had a lot of things in my life to be thankful for. God has blessed me physically and mentally to do all the things that I've done. And I hope that God, He still continue to bless me and my family. But the message, again, from my sister was, I hope we can all take that and start to run with it, was let's get together, man. Let's chatter, let's talk. Just communicate with each other, and let's not wait till somebody dies or something happens. Along that path, I have to. I'm gonna switch over to the other guys that that had a part of my journey growing up with Little League football at Zion Benton. Like I was telling y'all before, I kind of grew up in three little parts. The first one was Waukegan. Then Zion was the main stomping grounds. But I definitely had to go to Kenosha. My parents split when I was young, and my mom, ended up living in Kenosha, and then my father and the rest of us, we was in Zion, but it was back and forth. So I would go on the weekends. My dad was big in the family as well, so on weekends I had no choice. You're gonna take your butt up to Kenosha and hang with your mom and your sister and all of them. That's just what it's gonna be, because he was big into that as well. So this next small segment, I want to talk about some of those other guys up in Kenosha, man, that kind of helped me mold. I had my diehard brothers from Waukegan and Zion. That's where it started. But I definitely crossed the border of Wisconsin, man, and had some amazing times that were off the charts funny. And more of those times were more funny and fun because we was wild. So I want to kind of touch on that little bit of the Kenosha side. And then, like I said, it's going to go up and down with, there's a lot of segments with different people that was important to me. So I want to talk about the weekends, and sometimes when my dad had things to do, I would just go up to Kenosha, because it wasn't nothing but about a 10-15 minute drive from Zion to Kenosha. So with that being said, man, I want to talk about somebody that was special to me. She was special to my mama. She was special to our entire family. Again, there's a lot of people in Kenosha that wasn't blood, but they were like blood to us. You couldn't tell us we wasn't cousins. You couldn't tell us we wasn't, family, because that's what it was. There was somebody that my mom held special to her. My mom had probably about 3 best friends in her life that I can recall. And again, I don't want to really speak for her, but anybody that know us, know my mom in any way, shape, or form. This is real talk on that end. She had a friend that was her best friend in the whole wide world, and I'll talk about her down the road. Her name was Marlene. Marlene was somebody who she knew when she was really, really young. Marlene was amazing to me. I'd never seen Marlene in my entire life like yell or get mad. Marlene and all my cousins up in Chicago, they was amazing. But Marlene was special to me. We shared the same birthday. She was that calm to my mom. That was my mom. I can truly say that was my mother's best friend in the whole wide world. She was so good to me, man. Again, we wasn't blood, but we was. And she always treated me like her nephew or her sons and things like that. But shout out to the fam up in Chicago, Marlene and Junebug and Antonio, Mazetta, all of y'all, man. I love y'all to death, and y'all was always family. So even though we wasn't blood related, it was like we was blood related. But that was one of my mom's friends. One of my mom's other friends, and this goes into Kenosha. My mom was good friends with Letitia. They call her Lou Baby. Letitia was awesome. She came from a family that was very big. They had a really big family in Kenosha. A lot of those guys, man, I ran the streets with. So my mom, from what I understand, and Letitia, Lou Baby, they was cool from way back before we was even born. So, when you got friends and family members that are friends before you're born, you're lifetime friends. So, if, like, to this day, if I'm friends with somebody and I have a child, my kids, that's their family, and that's just the way that works. So we always consider ourselves cousins and things like that. And the reason why I brought up Letitia, strong woman, strong family, a lot of cousins. They was considered our cousins. That was our cousins. Like, you couldn't tell us that they wasn't fam. I hope all of them doing well. This about y'all. This that small segment that I want to keep on going about. But Letitia, I hope she's still alive. Again, I don't know if she is, and I pray to God she is. And shout out to her. But she had some kids that I grew up with when I would go to Kenosha. I remember the oldest, Cherie. Cherie, shout out to you, girl. You was bad. You was cool in the fan. You kept them apart, just how my sister Kim, she molded us and kept us apart. You kept them apart, man. You had a lot to do with your brothers and sisters' success, man. You did a lot with them and for them. And shout out to you, girl. You was always the real deal. The guys that I grew up with in that little area was Sandman, Sandy, the Sandman. Sandy the Sandman was a real deal. He had a little brother named CC. Shout out to you, CC, and Lulu, the baby of the bunch. Talk about Sandy for a little bit, Sandman. When I came over from Kenosha, man, or from Zion, I should say, over to Kenosha, man. We all landed in each other's lap, and then them the guys I ran the streets with. Taking back then, the ones that remember this, man. With our folks, we ain't had no curfew. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't had to be home at a certain time. Wouldn't let our parents let us run wild, but the way we grew up, it was like, man, they made sure we had a head over our roof, a roof over our head. They made sure we had what we needed, but for the most part, we didn't. Well, we grew up in that hood. We ain't had no curfew, man. We could stay at each other's houses. We could do this. We spent the night at each other. We all lived right by each other. Everybody was blocks or next door neighbors to everything we did in Kenosha. So if you know what I'm talking about, shout that out for the ones we grew up in Kenosha. But let me talk about Sandy for a little bit, man. Sandy was cool in the fan. We was growing up young. Everybody thought Sandy was crazy. Sandy was a real deal, man. Sandy was probably one of the best basketball players that I ever saw that no one really knew. You had, no disrespect to Nick Van Axel and some of those other guys. There was a lot of great basketball players out of Kenosha. But I'm going to tell you right now, I play with this dude all the time, every day. Extremely competitive. He made himself. He was the first one, like, where I grew up, who we ran the streets with, that was dunking. And nobody else wasn't dunking but Sandy. Sandy was the only one dunking. Sandy was a unique individual, man, and we would get into a fight like every day. You beat him in basketball, you got to fight him. And I tell you one thing, he ain't care nothing about how big you was, how little you was. He was competitive. He hated to lose. But Sandy was probably one of the best basketball players, man, that I can remember playing with when I was young, watching him. Nobody couldn't hold him. He gonna shoot every time, which he should. He reminded me kind of Michael Jordan. He wasn't Michael Jordan, obviously, but he reminded me, his mindset was he gonna score on anybody. I don't know nobody. When Sandy became himself and came into his own, please tell me somebody that could stop him, because you can't. Sandy Sandman Cohen was the real deal. He was blessed. He probably ended up at about 6 feet tall. But from what I remember, he was dunking, man, in like 6th, 7th grade. He just would keep trying until he made it. So shout out to Sandman, man. I know, we grew up a lot. We fought a lot. I probably had more fights with him than anybody. I probably fight him 3 times a day. And then an hour later, we hanging out, watching movies like it didn't even happen. You know what I mean? I don't know if my man had bipolar or what, but shout out to Sandman, man. I ain't never gonna forget you, dog. So you was real. You was real as they come. Anybody that grew up in Kenosha, man, gonna know who Sandman is. He was the only nigga, man. True story. His daddy was so clean. His daddy was the Sandman, the senior, or the big Sandman. But I tell you right now, man, every time Sandman came around, met him a few times. They had their daddy. He was always cleaner than the fan. I'm talking about the long trench coats, the slickest cars, man, the just clean swag, just bad son of a gun. When I seen Sandman, I was like, man, he clean, you know. So shout out to you, Sandy Cohen, Sandman. Grew up in Kenosha with him a little bit. The blessing he had was, you know, Letitia and their father, Sandman. Sandy had blue eyes, like a white individual, and nobody could believe it. But they knew that was, you know, Sandman and Letitia's child. They all looked the same, you know. Sandy, Cece had that same little peanut head. You couldn't. They looked like twins, but they had that same little weird shaped head, man. And you know, so they that's what it was. And so Lulu had it too. Lulu, I ain't gonna, you know, put y'all, but your hair was like theirs too. But it was a blessing, man. Y'all was good folks, man. Y'all was always gonna be family to me. But I wanted to talk about your Sandman just for the simple fact that you was one of my guys growing up, man. When I would come across that border, you never treated me different. You know what I'm saying? You never was jealous. You never was weird. You know, you was you. You know, so if you ain't like something, he'd just still on you. There was times where you just punched me and it was on. You know, but at the same time, an hour later, you'll come back and say, hey, man, you want to share this with me? So again, you know, whether you had a little bipolar in you or not, man, I love you to death. I hope you're healthy and everything's good with you. But I remember you, man, and you stuck out to me. His brother, Cece, was who I ran the streets with a little bit more. There was two cats who, when I was running the streets in Kenosha, when I would go visit my folks, Sandy was a little older. Quentin Q was my age, and then Cece was a little younger. But the ones that I, you know, really ran the streets with, man, was Q and Cece. And you know, we went through some times. You know, I want this to be positive, but within yourself, man, you know, God bless you. You know what it was. You know, if you felt like you did the right things with me, cool. If you feel like you did the wrong things with me, cool. That ain't what this about. That ain't a discussion. But in your heart, if you felt like you was foul or bogus in any way, man, that's for you to live with. But again, the love is always gonna be there no matter what. Don't nothing change. When you got brothers like that, like y'all was my brothers. You know what I'm saying? And I would have killed anybody for y'all growing up. We fought all the time. You know, we was the little snotty-nosed ones in Kenosha. You know, all the other older cats, we ain't care nothing about them. We was running around all through Kenosha, man. I'll tell you one little true story gonna make you laugh. We used to play this game in Kenosha. We was wild. We ain't care about none of that. We had this game that we would play with the PD, with the police. And we was so wild to where we was looking for things to do. Like, we wasn't getting in trouble. We wasn't stealing people's bikes and breaking into people's houses and things like that. But we were just all the mentality. We were just wild, and we just didn't. Not that we didn't care, but we were just about that life, man. I remember doing this, and it's a funny little story. So all y'all that know what I'm talking about, come on my page and shout it out and crack up. And if I forget some things, come on and let me know, man. But I remember when we was little in Kenosha, true story, little, going up to visit with my moms and them, Q, CC, Sandy, Tutu, Morel. I ain't forgot about y'all, man. I'm gonna talk about y'all in a minute. But all them cousins, real blood cousins, and they was all like just brothers. They invited me in. They wasn't shady. They wasn't, you know, whack. They just, I was, you know, Coco. I was family to y'all. So I appreciate that love, man. And it's a whole bunch of y'all, man. I can go down the line. It's a million in that family that was good to me, man. And we all still cool to this day. So shout out to all y'all. But this story, man, I'm gonna tell you a lot of stories because I think that's what it's all about. We used to probably about 5, 6, 7, 8 of us, man. We used to go way on the other side of town, and we played this game. And what we would do is we know the Kenosha Police Department. They used to park certain places, like 2 or 3 of them, and do all types of dumb stuff. So we would go probably about I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7 miles away from where our hood was, where we grew up, you know, by Frank School. And we would throw rocks. We would get over this pier type thing where the cops couldn't get to us right away. But if we threw rocks at them, they would chase us to get us. And we were young at this time, little ones. And so to us, that was fun. So what we would do is, real talk, we would throw rocks at the police and you was on your own. Just make it back home and we'll see y'all when we get there. And it was, you go your own route, but you make your own way how to get home. But to us, that was a rush. To us, that was fun. And we used to literally, no exaggeration, I ain't making no shit up. You can go check it out. Anybody that did it know what I'm talking about. We used to throw rocks at the PD's cars, tick, 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 and bang their cars up because we knew they had to go way around to get us. And so to us, that was a rush. That was a challenge. It was childish and stupid back then, but now it's funny to talk about because that's the type of stuff we did to have fun. So we would throw rocks at the police cars, man, and you had to make your way back a couple of miles to the crib, and it was fun. So when we made it back, we all sitting there huffing and puffing and scared. And I remember there was a time or two where I almost got caught. And I knew about it got caught. I know my pops was going to burn me up. I'm talking about give it to me the right way or let me stay, one or the other. And that's just how it was when we grew up. When we grew up, man, it was rough, but it was fun, man. And I wouldn't change nothing in the world for that. But shout out to that game. It was stupid as hell back then, but right now, it's funny. So if you remember when we used to do that, you boys know who we did it with. It was a blast for us doing that. So again, I wanted to say I hope y'all doing well, man. I wanted to talk about the other cats that had a lot to do with my growing up and my success and my pavement, the way I was paved and the way I was made and the whole nine. So I was blessed, man, to have homies from Waukegan. I was blessed to have homies from Zion, where it really, really, really started. And then I would visit Kenosha, man. And so I had some times with those folks as well. I know another dude that I was real close with, and to this day we talk often. Real close, man. We wasn't as close when we was little, but later in life, again, I'll talk about him down the road. But man, nigga, I love to death Jalal, man. Jalal was my dog. I mean, he looked out for me and talked with me and did a lot of things, man, and misunderstood. But even him and his family, we all was like cousins, man. We all said that we was cousins. Grew up with a lot of cats, man. Shout out Smoot, Jalal, D Nice, man, all them cats, Patrick Springer, all you boys, man. Shout out to y'all, man. If y'all doing well and y'all alive and everything else, man, come shoot some stuff on the page, man. Like it and come shoot it out to me, and we can discuss it and talk about it. But it's just this is all about fun. It's about happiness. It's about letting the world know how we grew up, letting the world know how we got down, letting the world know how we lived our life to become what we came today. Because a lot of y'all became successful folks, man, and that right there is, I'm proud of y'all. I'm happy for y'all. Everybody got a story to tell, but I want y'all to be a part of the story because y'all was in the story. So shout out to Jalal, his family, friends, all the people we grew up with. Sweet Pea, I'll get with him down the road. There's a little segment about him when I got to high school, when I transferred over from Zion Bend to Kenosha Bradford, but that's down the road. But when I was little, again, I'm talking about the little league, when I would go back and forth when I was little, I had some time that I spent with these boys, man. And shout out to y'all boys, man. However y'all feel about me, it's cool, but I love all y'all to death. And I hope that I can reunite with y'all, talk, reminisce, and just, live life to the fullest. Back then, I said this on my last segment, man. We used to crack up laughing at the old school niggas, like, when they was older. Now we them niggas. You know what I'm saying? So, Sandman, man, I want to, say to you, man, you was one of the best basketball players that I had ever seen that never really got a chance to show what you had. I remember, small story, at Bradford, man, you coming on and Verway wasn't having it. If that man Verway would have let you go, man, you'd have played in the NBA a whole bunch of years. I believe that with my heart and my soul that anybody that played basketball with the Sandman, Sandy Cohen, that boy would have made it to the NBA, man. But with that being said, man, you still was the coldest to me. One of the first niggas I seen dunk, even Quinn could dunk, and he was shorter than me. Quinn was probably about, Q was probably about, 5'7", 5'8", and that boy had hops out of his world too. He could dunk too. But Sandman was the one. He the one dunked on everybody. He the one had the game. He the one was like Mike. He the one that was, Sandy was the real deal. So anybody tell me anything different, come on the page, man, let me know. That's the way I feel. There was a lot of guys that were really, really good that we all knew, but this the one that nobody knew about. Patrick Springer was one of the best I done seen, and that's going to be talked about down in my high school career. But Sandy was the one I watched, wasn't that good at first, and he self-made himself. Sandman Cohen made himself that bad son of a gun right before our eyes by himself. He was the one out there playing, shooting. People talk about the stories of them out there hooping for hours by themselves and playing with anybody. That was Sandy. So as soon as you came into the neighborhood, he challenged, I want to play you one-on-one. And most games I seen him play one-on-one, I didn't see him lose very much. So shout out to you, Sandman. I hope you're still alive, man. I hope things going well with you, dog. If it is, man, get with me, like my page, and reach out to me. Let's make some comments and let's blow this thing up, because I want to hear about what made you want to be who you was, man. But you one of the one hidden talents that a lot of people didn't get to see, man. And I wish the guy could go back in time and pluck in one of my wishes, man. I would wish that you'd have got that shot to play high school basketball to the max, college basketball, and definitely we would have been seeing you play in the NBA, man. You'd have been just like Nick Van Axel, man. So with that being said, again, I wanted to give them shots out to y'all folks, man, about the Kenosha. We call it Keno. And like I said, it's going to be a lot of y'all. I didn't miss y'all, man. It's just, I'm going to talk about some of y'all in different, later down in other segments when I finally got to Kenosha, when I left Zion and ended up in Kenosha. Because Kenosha was always a home for me. But like I said, where this all started for me, man, was Zion, Illinois, man. And so ran those streets, but again, I was back and forth. But there was a lot of stuff that we would do, man, in Kenosha. So shout out to you Keno niggas, man. All y'all, love y'all to death. You know, no ill will. You know, we all love each other to death. And like I said, y'all helped pave the way of my career, and that's why I wanted to bring y'all up, man, and talk about y'all a little bit. So, but there's something that would stuck out a little bit more. But with that being said, man, I'll definitely get with some of the other folks because I ain't gonna miss nobody. The folks that influenced me had something to do with my life, and I can remember that part of that. I'm definitely going to talk about you later in segments.